The politics in South Asian countries in the future would be very critical. For instance, in Pakistan, it depends upon the PTI government how to carry on further, how to take part in the next elections. It wouldn't be as easy as before. Something that's very important for Pakistan is the institutional harmony. If that kind of breaks off, we could see how the democratic processes are derailed, how a clash between institutions could lead to more turmoil in the government and in the progressive processes that the government has been trying to initiate ever since coming into the power. More importantly, the clashes with India on the border would further increase because India is trying to divert attention from the communal rights within the country to the regional fault lines on the border. With this happening, it would be very tricky for the government of Pakistan to build a positive narrative, maintain a stronger border security, and at the same time develop the country. What is very tricky in here is to develop important foreign relationships because there would be a lot of pressure from the Western side to isolate China, as that seems to be the plan for Western democracies in the future. With Pakistan being a very important partner of China, it would be a very tricky situation for the government to deal with. The situation in India would probably worsen. The hyper-nationalism has increased over the years. BJP has fueled these riots, the hyper-nationalist feelings in the country. So what we could see in the future is very important for the Congress party, whether it would toe the similar line or whether it would stand by the principles it had in the past. If it goes on the similar line, the situations could worsen. We could see the Indian youth to react more towards the crumbling economy. The Modi government is not as strong as it was before, and the Citizen Amendment Bill is a clear vindication that the Indian democracy is a flawed one, and there are more things to come in the future that could derail the democratic process in the country. We could see Western powers imposing sanctions on India in the future as well. Moving further, there are more countries in South Asia that demand a lot of importance. Bangladesh was written off when it gained independence from Pakistan in 1971, but right now it's one of the fastest developing economy in the world, specifically in the Asian Pacific region. Despite the global recessions, in 2019 the GDP increased by approximately 8.1%, which is a very significant growth. In the future, the problem seems to be with the autocratic regime. If the regime continues to move on further, we could see a social revolution triggered by the opposition and the leftist parties, because over the last decade only the Awami League has flourished while most of the other parties have perished. Opposition has complained about the electoral processes, about the future elections, but with the current control the Awami League has, it seems they would stay in power, they would attract more foreign investments, and there could be more suppression of freedom of speech and of media rights. Nepal is another important country which is recently it has a better democracy. There have been good progresses, there have been good developments, but the ruling party NCP is facing a lot of difficulties. The most important thing for Nepal in the next decade is development. The infrastructure and connectivity in Nepal needs to improve in order to improve trade. Both China and US are ready to invest, but the current government is actually failing to negotiate with both the countries. But what it seems like, Nepal would probably end the status of a middle-income country somewhere around 2025 and 2027 in the next decade. Maldives is facing a big problem, which would be the increase in Wahhabism. Religious extremism is increasing in Maldives. The politics is very similar to the rest of the South Asian countries, where one side is in power and the other side is complaining about selective accountability. They're complaining about how the former president has been jailed. But the problem is at large, and that is dealing with extremism. Because for a country that is so dependent upon tourism, extremism cannot perpetrate and cannot take control, because that would be very damaging for the economy. Sri Lanka has come out of a lot of fiascos in the past. They've dealt with a lot of problems in the past. So Tamil Tigers seem to be at ease. There doesn't seem to be a lot of problem coming out of the region. There could be sporadic attacks on the Muslims because the current control of Rajapaksa brothers seem like they would be pleasing the majority Buddhist. But it would be a tricky situation for them to develop relations, because they have got a lot of Chinese control in the country, which the West is discouraging. But they have to improve relationship with India in order to improve trade, in order to increase more funds in the country. But we could see a lot more stability from Sri Lanka in the future, and a lot of increased tourism opportunities. For South Asia, something that's very challenging is the climate change. They need to be united on that. From the rising sea levels, the floods, the rains, the earthquakes is very damaging, and we are already seeing severe impacts of climate change in the region. So the countries, the SAARC forum needs to get its act together. There have been some developments, but nothing has materialized yet. So what is very important for the SAARC countries, the SAARC nations, is to unite, accommodate in the new headquarters in Islamabad, work with improved relationships, and possibly improve the region and increase trade, because right now there's more unofficial trade in the region than official one.
We're really excited to share fantastic content with you
on all the fun topics.
Please subscribe to our channel by
clicking on the subscribe button below.